Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locked Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor. Welcome to the off season.
Welcome.
The time has arrived. You are here. You have made it. We're gonna start the off season with a little tangent. Not really even. We just had a caller last night that we picked up the phone. We're like, "Hello," and the person goes, "Is this me?" We're like, "Yeah, what's going on?" He's like, "It's me. I'm here." We're like, "Yes."
It's like winning the
We were
lottery
talking to
getting
you.
into that show.
We already just thought it wasn't. But anyways, you're here. You've made it. This is you. Welcome to the off season. We have some different segments.
Hunter, are you crying right now?
I yawned before the show started.
Yeah, man.
I'm a yawn crier.
And even if he was, man. And even if he was.
You know what? I can't get a little emotional. The disc golf season's over. All right? So what if I want to cry?
I feel like the weight of the world is off our shoulders because now, like, we don't have to worry about predicting things and getting them wrong every time.
That's true.
So, like, there's a lot to be said for that because I wish we had our next year. I think we're gonna like have to keep track of like an overall record.
Yeah, we definitely
because
should.
I'm pretty sure like within like
sucked.
the top, like guessing top three players, I think we probably averaged like one
out of three.
between 1 out of 6.
Oh, between both of us.
Yeah.
Now there was some that we hit
between
some we hit
FPO
good.
and MBO. I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We would go like
That's
1
probably
for
true.
6 every time. It's bad.
That is probably pretty close. We're definitely going to keep you up to date with any storylines that develop this offseason. There should be a decent amount of free agency. Not a lot of high-profile free agency from what I've understood. Looks like a lot of the high-profile players are locked down for a little bit, but there should be some decent movement happening, and we'll keep you up to date as that happens. And we're also going to introduce several segments that we are very excited about. I think you will really enjoy. That'll help you just,
We got some fun segments.
Stay in love with disc golf through the off season.
Yeah, we're
this
here.
isn't a sad time.
It's a scary time. It's a scary time.
It's a good thing.
You just got into you just got into disc golf and you're scared because this is like let's say this is your first off season.
We'll be your tour guide through the off season.
Yeah, you're like, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, guess what? We're gonna be out there in the snow in 28 degrees in January, and we're still gonna be throwing paper plates.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, we're here.
There is no off season, is what we're saying.
Am I here? Is this me?
You're here. This is you.
You've arrived.
So let's just start off with some disc golf contracts. The first one that we've heard since last week's show, there's actually the only one we've heard, I believe, since last week's show, was Kristen Tatar has signed a $500,000 deal over the next 4 years. The thing that we aren't sure about that deal based on the Instagram post they made is whether or not that's $500,000 guaranteed or not.
Did we talk about the Drew one last week?
I believe we did.
Yeah, we did.
We definitely
did.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh yeah, we did, because I remember like that morning there was posts about it.
See, now this is what's interesting because people were saying this last night. Is UltiWorld posted Kristen Tatar signed a 4-year sponsorship extension with Latitude worth a guaranteed $500,000.
No.
But
What sources?
that's what they don't say according to anything. So if they
Yeah.
took it from the Instagram, then they just are.
That's bad journalism if they...
Because the only reason I'm even questioning it is if we go to their Drew Gibson article.
Do they say guaranteed in that one too?
Signs a lifetime deal that guarantees to pay out millions of dollars.
Right.
The player told UltiWorld. But that one says the player told.
Okay,
So
well,
that's just Drew being...
That's Drew being Drew.
Drew's doing his little spin cycle. We'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, so I'm not sure because the Instagram post just says that Kristen Tatar signed a deal worth $500,000. The UltiWorld article doesn't say where it got it from, just says that it's guaranteed $500,000, and those are two very different things.
I hate to break it to you, but you can't, if you don't have a source to at least back up where that came from, and then the Instagram post that's public knowledge doesn't say
something different,
and you can't say guaranteed. That's a very strong word in sports contract world. The guaranteed is like the golden word.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now, I mean, it'd be awesome if Kristen Tatar signed a 4-year, $500 guarantee.
Yeah, I hope
contract.
it is a guarantee.
That would be awesome, but I just don't think that. I don't think that happened.
Yeah, that's a topic I want to bring up here.
Based
right?
on the Instagram post,
is we have the Kristen Tatar deal. $500,000 over 4 years. How Latitude said is it's going to be worth $500,000 or could be worth $500,000, whatever. But nowhere in it did it say guaranteed.
Right.
So we don't know what exactly that means. That could realistically mean $50,000 a year, which is, what is that?
It could
200,000.
It could mean anything.
And
it could mean
bonuses up to 500,000.
Yeah, it could literally mean, oh, we have a bonus in this contract where if you win 3 world titles in a row, we pay you out $400,000, but that's the only way you're seeing $400,000 of this contract. Like that's extreme.
That
but
is
like,
very extreme.
You get what we're saying? Like the like they could word that however they want when they use very basic language in the post like that. Like worth $500,000 could mean so many things.
Yeah. So we have that deal worth 500,000.
It's still a lot of money. And I'm sure she's being paid well. So
Yes.
Good
yes.
for her, for sure.
And then we have the Drew Gibson deal.
Yeah.
Where he posted it. He signed a multi-million-dollar disc golf contract only for more and more information to be released. And it turns out he started a disc golf business, basically. Yeah. Am I missing steps there?
That's like basically if I started a lemonade stand and was like, I just signed a new contract with my lemonade stand worth $1 billion because it might make $1 billion if it gets franchised.
There's the possibility for it to make $1 billion.
When you're talking about business, literally there is an infinite amount of money possibility. Technically,
Yeah, and there's also an infinite amount of risk.
Right.
Because so Drew Gibson's agent went on the Nick and Matt show. He works with like this disc golf pro management group thing, and he went on the Nick and Matt show. And the agent said that basically why that post was made was twofold. One, their stats and analytics guy basically said there's no way Drew's new business venture doesn't make millions of dollars.
That's just ridiculous.
Which
that can't be true.
You can't say there's no way.
Yeah.
I agree. All signs point to Drew's new business venture being very successful.
What happens if one of your machines malfunctions and you can't make any discs? What happens if there's a supplier shortage and you can't get enough material? Like you can't say there's no way. There's too many variables in business.
Well, also, what if you're like, hey, EV7, we sold 50,000 of these things. This is gonna be just as popular. Let's order 100,000 on the drop, and then you sell 25,000, and now you have 75,000 discs worth of overhead.
Yeah, and it's still that goes against your
now
money.
You might be going under there. Not saying that's gonna happen. Like I said, all signs point to this new business venture for Drew being very successful.
Yeah,
it's just why not announce it as a new business venture instead of trying to put us all in the spin cycle and say you signed a multi-million-dollar disc golf deal.
And here's the thing too about that is like I think this is kind of it also he kind of paints it like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna keep selling discs for the rest of my life. Like, but when you're tying these discs pretty directly to your name,
we haven't heard the brand name.
Yeah,
it's gonna be under Gibson Industries as far as we know.
Right.
But we don't know if it's gonna be something different.
Unless you're able to create discs that gain popularity as like a main manufacturer, which is really hard to do when the market share is what it is right now. Unless you're able to do that, then you're only going to be selling discs as long as you're playing on tour and good. So like that's also another challenge that you have to like factor in. Like if you retire 10 years from now and your discs never really caught on mainstream, people kind of just threw them because you threw a couple molds and they liked them, then it's going to die out.
Yeah, I can guarantee you when it first drops, he's going to sell a lot.
Yes. If
that initial drop.
He's going to make a mid-range that flies like a buzz. People will buy a lot of them.
Yeah, that initial drop will go well
but
for
you
him.
can't just be like, okay, now let's take that number and multiply that by the amount of years I'm going to be living, and that's how much money I'm going to make.
No, because the hardest part is keeping that hype as it goes on, because then it's just... Because we also don't know who's manufacturing these discs.
Especially if the disc comes out, everybody throws it, likes it, but then it's like, yeah, but my Buzz does the same thing in there, and like I like the Buzz more.
Or like, I like the plastic better of this disc.
Right. So
there's an infinite number of factors that go into it, but no pun intended.
I'll put it this way.
But I think here's the thing that I hate so much about like this whole situation is the actual thing that happened of Drew starting the business, I love. Yeah. And if Drew would have posted, hey, super stoked to be launching this new business venture,
we would just be hyping it up.
Yeah, be like, sick, this is amazing. I just don't like, because you don't know the waves it could cause of like, I'm Adam Hammes, right? And I see someone that I'm like kind of competitive with week in and week out, and Drew Gibson say he signed a multi-million-dollar deal, and I'm Adam, and I'm like, hey, I have a negotiation call with Discraft today. I'm worth millions of dollars. Like, there's no way I'm not.
I mean, if I'm Drew Gibson, I don't really care.
No, if I'm Drew Gibson, I don't care. I'm saying that as a disc golf world,
it's kind of like Drew Gibson's kind of like an everyman. Like he's kind of like the lone wolf out there already because he's just not playing for manufacturers.
I know, I'm just saying like
I will
it's
say
misleading
this too.
information.
Yes, I will say this too though. Like if I were him, I would have just never even backed down at all because nobody actually really knows. Like not.
Well, he didn't really back down.
Well, he said that and then he
provided more information.
Gave more and more and more information. you didn't have to do that. We would have just
been
gone
like,
with what you said.
Like the lifetime deal with Infinite.
We would have.
Hopefully, he's getting paid enough.
We would have speculated some things, but like, I think like if you're gonna be the guy that stirs the pot, which I love that in disc golf. Like I love when people just like throw stuff out there that gets people talking, because that's just how things should be. It's more exciting. If you're gonna do that, then just kind of like throw it out there and just drop the mic. Like, don't you don't have to like go back and explain to people and like, well, this is what just do it. Whatever. We'll talk about it.
Now back to the Kristen Tatar 500K over 4 years. One thing that I think is extremely exciting about this is in the Latitude 64 post, and I think she's said it, is this will allow her to tour more in the U.S. So guaranteed or not guaranteed, it's enough money to make her more comfortable with spending the resources over here.
You know what? Maybe
that on tour.
That's something we didn't really think about, is maybe part of the value of that contract is like has to do with travel and lodging fees,
which is technically guaranteed. It's just not money.
Right. That would be more so of a guarantee thing. So that's something we didn't consider. Yeah. Maybe they're like, hey, guess what? We're going to get you an RV over there. You're gonna tour in that, and like that's part of what we're.
Regardless, it was also exciting to see a deal of this value, no matter how they got to the value, be given to one of the top FPO players, because again, this is the type of deal where numbers are starting to be public, where it helps players to a certain extent with their negotiations and understanding what they're worth. Because now if you're someone who is a top player in the FPO side, right? Let's say you're a Haley King, and like, hey, my deal should be up here. Because like Kristen Tatar doesn't have a bigger like social media pull, or she's not doing anything like it's not like a Simon situation where you can be like, well, of course Simon's going to be worth more even if you're beating him, because look at his YouTube poll and look at his branding poll, look at all this stuff Simon has going on outside of disc golf. Kristen has a good social media, but it's not like she's doing a ton extra outside of disc golf. Right. So if you're someone who competes with her regular on the course, and you can look at this and be like, I need to, like, my deal should be competitive, because if not, I need to shop around and get a good outfit.
There's like a very dangerous game going on right now, because what's happening, which is this part is a really good thing, is like the contract details to some extent are being, like before, like a player would be re-signed, you didn't even hear about it. But like now we're hearing about like manufacturers like, okay, it really like gives us a lot of positive PR when we post these deals and like some of the details. And like, so that's cool. And it's great for like us as fans and followers of the sport to like see what's happening as far as contracts, because that's just a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
What's getting interesting is the more that these contracts come out, the more that, because disc golf contracts are already very incentive based and a lot of times sales based. If you're like selling discs, like trying to move discs for a company, which is a part of a lot of contracts, there's going to be a lot of sketchy numbers thrown out, because companies are going to have to feel like they need to stretch those numbers to make their contract sound just as legit as the next guy, and they want to outdo, the other manufacturer, and it's just going to kind of keep getting more and more crazy. And I just think it's going to be fascinating to see like, what, like when I don't know if we'll ever see a contract be released and it's like, yep, Chris Dickerson just signed for 3 years, $100,000 a year guaranteed. Like that's just the contract. Like it's always going to be, we're going to see a lot of this like obscure language.
Well,
like,
what I'm wondering is,
it's always more exciting to type more zeros when you're talking about players.
Yes, but I'm wondering if this is going to eventually put pressures on manufacturers to give players bigger contracts than they can actually afford.
Oh, I completely agree.
Like, for instance, let's stick with the Chris Dickerson thing. I know he just re-signed, but let's just go this hypothetical. I'm painting you in a different reality here.
Okay.
Chris Dickerson comes out, and Prodigy announces, we just signed Chris Dickerson to a 3-year deal worth over $2 million. Right?
Yeah. Just like a
now, I'm Kevin Jones. My contract is also up. I'm also with Prodigy. Right? So now I'm going to Prodigy, and it's like not only like Chris Dickerson and Kevin Jones, pretty comparable when it comes to like playing on the course. Chris Dickerson has had a little bit more success with majors and stuff like that, but week in and week out, I think Kevin Jones and Chris Dickerson, one of them could beat the other any week, right?
Yeah.
And again, they're both players that don't have a ton going on social media outside. So we got to look at play, brand, stuff like that. I think Kevin Jones and Chris Dickerson, pretty similar value comps there. So we're Prodigy, and Kevin Jones comes to me and is like, hey, just saw you announce the Chris Dickerson deal, super excited to get into my negotiations. So now you're Prodigy, and you're like, we got to put that out for another player.
Here's the interesting thing, because like I agree that there could be a mess if like these contracts keep going up and up and up, and like there's pressure to raise them for manufacturers. The key though is it's only really going to matter for the most part if it's guaranteed money, because like
yes,
I wonder where because obviously like if you just tell Chris Dickerson we're just going to up your royalties on discs, we're not going to make quite as much money, we're not going to lose money, and you now have a potential. Well, yeah, if you sell 10,000 discs, you're going to make, $100,000 or whatever. So they can just say that all they want. And that's not really going to hurt them. But the key is, I wonder, when disc golfers are going to get to the point where they start saying, no, we need to have more guaranteed money than we have just this incentive money.
I think it's different type of people who want different things.
That's when it gets troublesome, though, because that's when you have a manufacturer that's like, okay, you know what, guys, we can offer Kevin Jones 70,000 guaranteed because we're gonna make it back in disc sales. Like he sells us those discs, and then he doesn't sell those discs for whatever reason. That's when you're gonna have the problem.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is though. I agree with you. The royalty thing, I think, is how a lot of these contracts are structured right now, and it can even be like
on the type of player.
It can also be like, hey, the FX2, Chris, you helped us design it. You're gonna be getting $3 per disc, and we guarantee we're gonna run 50,000 of them this year.
Yeah, that's true. If they guarantee they can run a certain amount.
We'll guarantee we'll run 50,000, but there's not a cap. We can run more or whatever, but 50,000 is a minimum, so that way you have like a little bit of guaranteed on top of your actual guarantee, plus travel stipends, blah, blah, blah. Crunch numbers, boop, 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 boom, worth $3 million. That type of deal, I agree with you. Like there's a little less risk on the company, but what I'm wondering is like, as this starts to happen more and more, it's going to be harder and harder for companies. Like if you have, let's just look at Discraft, right? They signed Paul to a 10-year, $10 million guaranteed 10-year, $10 million, right?
Yeah.
Their focus is going to be, we have to get the value out of that 10-year, $10 million.
Right.
Their goal might be, let's get that value out of that 10 mil in the next 2-3 years. So then the rest of it, we already just got it. We got the Paul fund set aside.
Yeah.
And we can just let that kind of run, and then can pick up other players. That might be what they're doing. But if not, then if you're a player like Adam Ham is, you got to wonder at Discraft, like, how high can I get?
Yeah, what's the cap room right now?
Well, yeah, not even like money-wise, but like attention-wise. Because Discraft has to make that 10 mil back. Yeah. And they're paying very handsomely as well.
Yeah, they're going to be pushing their product super hard.
Yeah, so like you got Paul, you got Paige, which are both have big time contracts with Discraft.
Very true.
And I'm Adam Hammonds, and I'm like, I now deserve a big time contract. I'm getting to that point. Is it going to be a point where like Discraft's like, well, we have to keep Hammonds, and it's like, okay, well now we have to take another risk here. Yeah. And like, I don't think Discraft or Innova is even close to spreading themselves too thin. But if you take this on someone like MVP. It's actually MVP is a great example because they are starting to, but up until recently, having control of their own manufacturing. So like, let's say that MVP, when they signed Conrad, let's say it was a big time deal. It was a big time deal, but let's just say it was like a Paul level deal where they're guaranteeing Conrad $1 million a year. And then there's a plastic shortage where their manufacturer is like, hey, we don't have enough machine time for you.
Right.
Like, uh-oh. Like, there's just so many variables with that.
Or the employees go on strike.
Yeah.
There you go. Or the employees go on strike.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen with that. But I'm just wondering if we're going to see, and if we do, what company, like a manufacturer that just like takes the wrong risk. It's like, you know what? I'm betting on this player. I really think they can do it. We need them. Everything says they're going to be valued like $750,000 guaranteed a year. We need to lock them down for 4 years, and then it's like,
yeah. If I were a company in this current landscape, what I would probably do is I would be the company who's offering super, because I think like players who are very confident in their ability are going to be very attracted to very high bonus incentive contracts where like if they can see it and be like, oh, all I got to do is be consistently in the top 10 and I'm going to be making a ton of money. Like there are some players like that, and then some who are probably like, I really need to just make sure I can pay rent, or I need to make sure I can pay for gas.
That's what I'm saying. There's two different types of people.
Yeah.
There's actually three, because you just brought up another one. There's like the play base where they're like, look, I don't care about disc royalties, but I know I'm going to be in the top 5 in every pro tour, so just give me bonuses for that.
Then you have like the marketer.
The marketing people of like, hey, I know I can move discs regardless, so just give me fat royalties on my discs with no cap room and let me do my thing. And then you have the people who just want no pressure on them at all throughout the year, and are like, no, I want guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I was a company right now in this landscape, I would be offering up super, super high like bonuses, like bonus heavy contracts, whether for selling discs or for finishing, just because I think there's going to be enough good players that will take that. And I just wonder where the line is drawn in the sand, though, where it's like, when are companies taking advantage of players because they just can throw so many zeros into a contract when they're not promising anything, really? They're just like, it's all on you, which, I mean, to be fair, that's kind of how this works. But you have to, when you sign a player, you're basically saying you are valuable to us, and you really need to promise them some.
Well, it's like back in the
guaranteed
day, when the great prodigy draw of 2012 happened, or whenever it was.
The Golden State Warriors of disc golf.
When like Prodigy started, everyone went to Prodigy. From what I understand, a big part of it was they were promising ownership stake and like percentage of profits.
So they weren't making profit.
But the thing is, when you start a business, your first few years, you're reinvesting most of, if not all of the profits back into the business.
Yeah.
So it sounded great, and all the players were like, oh, with all of us behind it, we can, this is going to make us so much money. And then the first few years happened, and it's like, why aren't we making money? And Prodigy's like, well, we're growing. Like, so it's kind of like I don't think that was like a Prodigy intentionally misleading, because I think they were setting players up like Will Schustrick for long-term success, where Will has stuck with them, and I'm sure is now a part owner. I think Kayla Viska's in the same boat where they're like part owners of Prodigy, right? Yeah. As far as I know. And so that sets them up for long-term success, but it was a long-term play. Like basically, if you weren't a lifetime Prodigy, if you weren't going to be lifetime Prodigy when you signed that initial deal, it wasn't a good deal for you. And I'm wondering if like players can, I think that's why it's important to have agents and stuff like that in. Yeah. Because they can kind of see through it and know, hey, I'm representing Ricky. Right, and I know Ricky's desires is he wants a bonus heavy contract with a lower guarantee because he's very confident in what he can do, and that's what motivates him is the finishing places. So if I go to a manufacturer and it's all just royalties, no guarantee, and very bad bonus structure, I'm like, that's a bad deal for Rick, even though it might be looking like, oh my word, I can make so much money. But then the agent can be like, hey, I understand my client, and I can read through all the legal mumbo jumbo to see this isn't a good deal for him. Right. I think stuff like that is where agents are going to be very important, because you can't expect a player to be able to go into like a business contract negotiation for themselves and like have all that pressure already on of like, I need to find the best offer. And you might have companies like, hey, if you go hear other offers, we're pulling this one. Like this is a one-time deal, and you got like all this pressure on you of like, if I don't sign this now, like what if I don't hear a better deal? Blah blah blah.
There's a lot of emotion involved too, because a lot of times you've been playing for this company for how long?
Yeah, like you got the CEO crying on the other end, like please don't leave me.
They're gonna be pulling on your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, that's where I think agents just they take 10% or whatever it is, but
there's a reason they're there.
It separates you from the company to where you can have someone vouch for you, and the whole idea of the agent is they're gonna make your contract more than 10% if you did it yourself. Right. So they're going to pay for themselves and then some. Yeah. If it's a good agent. Right. That's the biggest thing is getting a good agent.
Yeah. I mean, the agent does his job or he gets fired. That's how it works in the sports world. Like, you got a job to do.
Yeah, but that's where I definitely think it's going to be an interesting landscape, as especially more and more contracts get public. I love the contracts being public. I do wish we would see the word guaranteed in there a little bit more, but I understand why we don't. I do like the whole idea, though, of it allows players to kind of see their worth, know what they're worth going into negotiations. But I do think it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on manufacturers to see, like, are any kind of spreading themselves thin, taking big risks, or are they being smart? Dynamic disc, I think, is a very interesting one to constantly keep our eyes on, because they still, to this day, don't have a big time player, but they have a lot of good personalities, and they're doing just fine like that, to where they've kind of set themselves up in a way that a lot of other companies haven't, because like
they're basically not depending on the players.
They're not depending on the player, exactly, to where if they sign a big time player, that's great. It would do a lot for their brand, but they're able to make it without one. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're doing just fine without one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, just look at Discraft. Discraft just kicks butt these days.
But you rewind 10 years ago.
Do you remember Discraft before Paul got there? They were okay. They were fine. Like
the discs were the same.
Yeah, but they were not nearly what, like nowadays you can't go to any course without, like Discraft is what you see the most of.
Yeah.
Where it used to be Innova. Is there a common denominator there? I don't know. You tell me.
I think that's what we've seen is when Paul was with Innova was always the king, right? Innova was always the big dog.
Well, because they had already set that foundation through.
Yeah, with Barry Schultz, Ken Climo,
Feldberg,
Avery Jenkins,
all of them.
Every big time player back then was Innova.
Yeah.
And so we hadn't in the market really seen how much do players actually mean to these companies.
Right.
And then the Paul shift happens, and you can look around you and be like, I think that's kind of what happened in manufacturing is everyone had a wake-up call of like, holy cow, look how much one player just did.
Yeah.
Like, now good luck going to the course and not seeing at least a Discraft disc.
Right.
Years ago, if I saw a disc that wasn't a Buzz from Discraft, I had to pick it up and be like, what the heck is this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my word, the Stratus kind of feels cool. I might throw one. I don't know what the heck it does. But you know what I mean? It was a very rare thing. And then that shift happened. I think that's where companies really started to like wake up and be like, if we can get the right player throwing our discs, it makes the world a difference.
It's a lot simpler than you think to become popular as a company. It really comes down to the right
MVP
players.
has made a massive stride this year.
So much.
And that was with obviously James Conrad won Worlds, but
they already had a great product. That's the other thing that tells you is MVP. We see MVP come in all the time, and I'm telling you right now, if you have not like checked out MVP or Axiom, I'm not just trying to be a marketer right now because I'm not affiliated with them.
He hates MVP, but he has to say this.
Their product is amazing. Every disc you pull out, they're consistent. They just look great.
I've said it multiple times. It's so hard for me not to go full gyro.
It's fantastic plastic, and they don't even if you're not into the gyro technology, there's a streamlined disc.
Yeah.
Same made
and
by
they
the same
all
plastic.
feel really
but
good.
the thing is, they've been doing this for years.
Right. So like they already had the product.
I'm like the perfect example, right? For years and years before the James Conrad deal, I hated MVP.
Yep.
For no reason. No reason at all. I never threw it. I refused to throw it. I just couldn't stand. The only people I saw throwing it were players who were like kind of new to the sport, had their bag full of it, and told me it made them throw 50 feet farther.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just not the case.
Yeah.
We tested it. Might have been the case. It doesn't matter.
A little bit the case.
But I just refused to throw it. It just had and I think that a lot of the disc golf world just had this weird stigma around MVP.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't touch that crap. Like,
it's just a rec company.
Yeah. But then James Conrad signed. I was like, I'll try some stuff. And then I like through the pilot, fell in love with it. Through the Envy, fell in love with it. Through the lift, fell in love with it. I'm like, the frick, dude. Like, my whole bag is going to be this stuff.
Yeah. There are a lot of companies.
And then he won Worlds with it, which like validated me. I'm like, okay.
There are a lot of companies
done.
out there that are making really good discs, and so like at that point, it all comes down to
Everyone's
marketing.
putting out good plastic right now.
And players are king, and like this is how it works in like everything pretty much. Like
that's what I'm interested to see.
Influencing is the biggest, like one of the biggest industries there is for this reason.
I'm interested to see who is like the next market shift that happens. Like Paul's obviously locked in; he's gonna be a Discraft for life. But like,
I don't think
the next player who's able to kind of get that.
It would be Eagle or Simon.
So like, you think I would be huge if Eagle left Discmania, right?
Probably,
and went to Gateway.
Yeah. It would 100% be Eagle or Simon.
No, hear this out. Eagle leaves and goes to Gateway.
Yeah,
I like it.
People would start throwing Gateway.
You start seeing Wizards everywhere.
Especially Simon. Especially people get on me for saying especially.
It doesn't matter, man. Say what you want.
I just don't want the comments to hurt my feeling.
What you want, man.
Especially if Simon did because he's in so many because of his like YouTube with the vlogs.
Yeah.
That would be huge. Those two guys are like obviously like you got players like Ricky, Calvin, Dickerson, like really good players, but you're not paying attention as much to like they don't have the disc pool. I don't think.
I don't know because one thing that I've noticed, Ricky went to Innova, so it's hard to see like a spike in Innova sales because Innova's consistent.
Ricky was at the top of his game when he was at Prodigy. He moved to Latitude, and people weren't throwing what?
He was at the top of his game when he was a Prodigy?
Okay, he was like a top 2 player in the world. Like he was losing.
Yeah, but then he was the number 1 player in the world when he was at Latitude.
Okay, this just helps my point. So he goes to Latitude. He's the number 1 player in the world. I did not see people throwing Latitude left and right.
Yeah,
okay,
not.
here's my question. Here's my point though. He went from Latitude to Innova.
Yes.
Right? Which Innova
Already
has always
the
been a
most
consistent
popular
seller. You're not
brand.
going to see a spike in Innova sales.
Yeah.
What we have noticed is a
pigs.
massive drop in Harp sales.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think with guys like Ricky or maybe Dickerson, I think they have enough pull that like whatever their main signature disc that like the commentators are always talking about, the free marketing, like the pig or the harp, they can pull a disc like that, but like with Paul, like people were throwing his whole bag. Like that's where the difference lies, I think. Where like if Eagle and Simon, like people love Discmania, they want to throw DD3s and P2s and MD3s because they throw it. I mean, how many people throw that European Open Glow MD3 just because Eagle?
Well, we
always
do
talked
have to
about
think
it?
too. Well, A, 100% agree. Great disc. B, one thing we have to think through though. One thing we have to think through is the tie with Paul, Eagle, Simon. It was all in a way tied to Innova, who was the big dog, right?
That's true.
So the move away from Innova, I think, was a bigger move than like Latitude to Innova, right, for Rick. So I think what it was basically like everyone had been throwing Innova. Paul was the reason people put like the Thunderbird in their bag, you know what I mean? The Mick Pro, like his own plastic line and stuff like that. Big influence in that aspect. But then when Paul leaves Innova, and goes to a different company. So he was the top guy at Innova, left Innova, went to a different company. I think that's why we saw such a drastic pull is it just like was unfathomable to everyone. You know what I mean? Of like, holy frick, like, and especially he went to Discraft, which like not a lot of people were throwing.
Yeah.
And then he started throwing stuff and it just got everyone curious. Whereas with Latitude, like Ricky went from Prodigy to Latitude. But like he wasn't going from like a insanely popular brand to a non-popular brand. Latitude and Prodigy were like on the same playing field, kind of.
That's what you're saying.
So like people might have taken the one disc out of their bag and put the harp in, but it wasn't like my full bag is Prodigy, and so is 80% of the disc golf market, and it's like someone just shifted to this and is playing extremely well.
I agree with that to some sense, but I think if you reverse the roles, it's still Paul. It doesn't matter.
I agree. Paul has more pull than Rick on the market.
Wherever
I'm just
he
saying,
goes, is still people are gonna change their whole.
I'm
bag.
saying if Paul had come up with Latitude, it might look a little different.
It would a little bit, yeah.
And I think the same thing can be said of like. I think people were so willing to try MD3s and PD2s and stuff because it was Champion and Star Plastic. Like it was what we already loved. That's why the only reason I threw the MD3 was someone told me it was a beadless Rock 3. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I don't like the bead.
These days, though, I don't even think, I think a lot of people that get into this these days probably don't even know that Discmania was tied to Innova.
No. Well, I mean, they have to because the big announcement just happened. But
well, they probably were caught up to speed.
But they probably didn't get into it because it was tied to
Innova. Right. They just got into it because Simon and Eagle.
What I'm saying is that's why I think that so Discmania was able to build a big following is you also had players like Sexton. You had Paul put the FD3 in his bag.
That is the reason.
You had so much Germ definitely had some disc in his bag. You had so much crossover that it wasn't just Simon and Eagle.
Yes.
And that in a way built Simon and Eagle up and up and up and up.
Yes.
Because you also had Avery Jenkins, who was a much bigger name back then.
Yeah.
He was a big Discmania guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As somebody who threw Innova, I put
made sense.
I had an S-Line P2 because Paul used that as his driving putter. Like I tried out PD2s, FDs.
That's what I think attributed a lot to Discmania's initial success and their ongoing success is like, I will forever want to throw an MD3 because I fell in love with it when it was an Innova.
Well, the biggest thing is too is you could have an all Innova bag aesthetic and have Discmania disc in it and not change that aesthetic. It's still like
completely agree.
Under the same manufacturer and like you didn't feel like you were throwing a mixed bag. That was like a huge point because there's a lot of people who don't like throwing mixed bags.
Yeah,
for the aesthetic.
I'm curious to see what that next player is though. Like
I think that a Brody move would be a big deal.
Yes,
that would be.
Yes,
that would be. It would definitely be interesting.
Brody. I didn't add him to that list, but he's similar. Like if he were to move to any company, like people are going to start throwing those discs.
I feel like Adam Hammond a few years from now would be, depending on where he went, could be a decently big move. I think if he moves right now, nothing.
I don't know. Do you think he's becoming more and more? Do you think he's becoming more and more unlikable to where people are going to stop? Like he's going to kind of fizzle out?
How so?
Just because I feel like he's getting so much attention, like with his hot takes, and that's
Austin
Hannum.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even hear what you said.
I said Adam Hammes.
I'm sorry.
Silly gears.
Different person.
So sorry.
Yeah, I was like, how's Adam Hammes becoming unlikable? I was like, the dude doesn't say anything.
I think the thing about Hammes is I think in today, for instance, Paul was able to build his brand off of winning, but it was like serial winning, like excessive winning. Yeah. I think in this day and age, it is very hard to build a brand solely off of winning. So even if a guy like Hammes and goes through like in the next 10 years of his career and he's winning like 2 to 3 events a year, which I think is a pretty good season for the next 10 years, that's not enough. I think you're gonna.
That's true.
It's enough to be pretty darn relevant, but not to be like the mover and shaker in disc golf.
I guess we also have to remember Adam Hammes, I think, is about the same age as Eagle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, I think Ham is
Maybe
is a younger.
Like
I think
a year or two?
Eagle's 2 years older than me. I think Ham is like the same age or even a year younger than me. Probably the same age as me.
Okay, but like 2 years.
Get on that, Konner.
2 years is not like a
No,
drastic,
he's definitely young.
Yeah, and Ricky's also
Adam
kind of young.
Hamas.
Yeah.
Ricky's also kind of young. I think Ricky's only like 27, 28.
I think Ricky is,
Or 26.
maybe like 27.
I'm looking up Ricky's age.
Okay.
I just feel like when I'm like talking about it, I just picture he's 28. I just picture Eagle as
He's up there.
yeah, he is.
Well, Eagle's 24. Eagle's the same age as you.
We're positive of that.
Yeah, he's born in 97.
23. He's not born in 98. He's a year younger than me.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I'm saying is I think when we think of Eagle, I'm thinking of him as like a 28, 29-year-old. Like he's not even in his prime.
You're thinking of him like that?
But not when I think of him just like if I look at Eagle, I know he's not, but like when I'm thinking of him as a player, I'm thinking of him as a mature, like in his prime player when it's like he's still got like 5 years so he's in his prime.
It's funny to think like you do think like it's inevitable that Eagle is just going to have like this longest run of just dominance because you're like, oh my gosh, like Paul and Ricky are going to get like old and Eagle's still going to be in his 20s like and have.
Well, when Paul's 28 or when Eagle's 28, Paul will be 35.
Yeah. But the thing is too, like you think about that, but then you're like, within these next 10 years, guys are going to burst onto the scene that you've never even heard
absolutely.
of. It's crazy.
I always, whenever I'm thinking of them, I put Paul, Ricky, Eagle in the same group when Eagle is significantly younger.
Have you found anything yet, Konner?
There's not really anything for sure, but I think that he's 22.
I think I looked this up. We did look this up a while ago. We couldn't find it anywhere. We just knew that in 2015 he was playing 15 and younger.
Yeah, well, there's this really funny.
That's all we were able to find. So I think he's 22.
There's a Facebook account called Fake PDGA.
Yeah.
And they posted in March 27th, 2020, the 21st birthday of Adam Hamas is canceled today due to COVID-19.
So it must have been his 21st birthday that day.
Yeah.
So that's what year was that?
Last year.
We're almost the same age because he's
like
March.
22.
So I'm like a month
So he's a year
older.
younger than Adam Hamas, or than Eagle McMahon.
Yeah.
So you're like the same age.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's get into a new segment here. You might have saw this on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, check it out over at Foundation Disc Golf. I put out a story and an Instagram story, and I asked all of you to submit your best or weirdest disc golf story, and I was gonna pick one, read it on here. I don't know if we're gonna do this every week or like every other week or what we're gonna do.
I think we're probably gonna get enough segments for the off season that we can kind of like
rotate
them in and out, hear out what are the favorites, like which are the ones.
I'm
that
just
you
like
need every time.
I think every week I'm just kind of like put this out there. And so I can get more stories, and then if like one's funny enough,
there's one that's like legendary.
Like this one isn't legendary, but like it's pretty funny. So let's
see.
This is from
Konner and I haven't heard it. So
no, you haven't. I told them they were not allowed to read the Instagram messages so that I could surprise them with
we'll
the story.
see.
I'm excited. This is raw emotion you're about to see.
Shock value is like what I need.
This is from _JC Coates.
JC Coates.
He said he was playing at his home course in North Carolina, which is also a public park, a very public park.
Oh no.
Had a drive land next to a tree. As he was waiting for his friends to finish their tee shot, they saw a man heading towards us. He stopped right at the tree where his disc had landed and was leaning on it. As I approached to get my disc, the man made some small talk and told us, hold on. And kept saying, this is my tree. This is my tree. Hold on. Go somewhere else. This happened for a couple minutes, and finally I assumed this dude's on drugs. So I said, sir, just let me grab my disc and I'll go on my way. So I hurried to the tree and reached down while this man starts yelling at me.
Oh my gosh.
And lo and behold, that's when I see the steady stream. The man was peeing right beside my disc.
Oh.
Thank goodness I didn't see anything, and my disc was dry. Not sure what the PDGA rule is for that one, but I sure as heck know what the law says about it.
That is
my
hilarious.
gosh! I imagine
dude
if
almost got
he
peed
had
on.
right in his disc.
That's
like that
hilarious.
That's tough.
That's funny. It's still not an appropriate way to react to somebody running up on you while you're peeing is saying, this is my tree, this is my tree.
No, that is a weird way. I would have been like, guys, I'm peeing right here.
That's because he was on drugs, I think.
That makes sense. I understand
That's something you'd say if you were strung out.
But
and
he
peeing
sounds
in
a lot
public.
less crazy once you know he's peeing and saying, "This is my
Yeah,
tree." Like,
less
hold
crazy,
on.
but still not a very good way. Maybe he was just really flustered, and then he was coming up and he was like, "This is my tree. This is my tree."
I immediately pictured it as like this guy was just extremely flustered because he's peeing and somehow no one knows he's peeing, and he's like, "Guys, I'm peeing right here. I am peeing.
Maybe
this is my tree."
I've had a very similar situation to that happen.
It's tough because I can't. Oh yeah, it's tough because I can't picture like if it's like
I don't know what y'all are talking about, but maybe you'll just tell me later.
I'm picturing two things right now. Either this tree is like in the middle of thick woods and this isn't that weird, like this kind of happens, or it's like Peaksview Park and it's just like one of the trees in the middle of like a grassy fairway. Then it's weird. So like.
Yeah, that is a valid point. Like if he's walking on like a sidewalk and just stopped and leaned up against a tree to pee, then it's like, okay,
then it's
clearly
weird.
But if he's like deep in the woods and your disc happened to land on a random tree, he's like, guys, this is my tree. Go find someone else.
And then it's still weird because
it's still a weird thing to say.
But
it's a little bit more understandable. The situation I was in, I'll just give a brief synopsis of what happened. I found a disc on a course. Then whenever I was finishing the course, I saw a group going on hole 1. And they were like kind of like in this weird little path between hole 1 and hole 2. So I saw a guy like kind of facing towards me. And so I started walking up and I was like, "Hey man, did you lose a disc?" And he's like not hearing me, just like on his phone. And I kept on walking up. I was like, "Hey, I found this disc." And then he quickly turns around, and that's whenever I realized that he had been peeing facing me the whole time. And that, like, I just was, like, just looking at his face. I just didn't see anything. So I didn't notice he was peeing. It was until he whipped around very quickly and started zipping up his pants that I was like, I walked up on this poor guy just peeing on the course. But it was his disc.
Was it his tree?
He was not peeing on a tree.
Oh.
It was in the middle of a path.
Those are his paths. That's his path.
I mean, that is just very bold.
Yeah, peeing in the middle of a path.
It's not typically a place that you would walk by, but I was cutting to hole 1 because I heard them over there. So I was just trying to be a nice guy and was in an uncomfortable situation. So I'll never do anything nice ever again out of spite.
All I know is whenever I pee, I'm just gonna start yelling, "This is my tree! This is my tree!
This is my tree! Hey,
what if maybe he was just like marking his territory? Maybe he said it wrong. Maybe it's a dog.
Maybe
not
he
a guy.
wasn't. He didn't start peeing until the guy
landed.
walked up.
Once the disc landed on the tree, he was like,
"Oh frick!
This is my property. I need to mark it." The disc doesn't know what's up.
So he's like, "What if he's making eye contact with the guy and he's like, 'This is my tree. This is my tree,' and then he starts peeing, 'This is my tree.'"
That would be much weirder. This guy, he said he didn't know he was peeing until he bent over to reach for the disc. Which I mean, partially like you're a little unaware there.
What was this guy's name? JC Crust?
Underscore JC Coates.
JC Coates. I wasn't trying to make a joke. I just forgot his name.
Did you say choke?
I didn't mean to.
All right. Well, there's the disc golf story time. If you have stories, feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook, and you might hear yourself featured in one of these. We greatly appreciate funny stories.
That was fun.
That was a good time. All right. Let's get into the fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia.
All right.
What you got for us today, Trevor?
Okay, so what I have today, we're gonna involve Konner a little more in the trivia since we have some more time in the off-season episodes. So we think until we go on a tangent. The name of this game, ready, is called "Is It Baseline?"
I love that.
So basically, I went through just the most obscure disc brands that I've never heard of. And I've written down plastic names, and I'm going to ask each of you, is it baseline? And you're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to tell me yes and no. And if for some reason one of you knows the brand, you don't guess it unless you know it, because you're not like it. You'd have to know to make a guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you get a bonus point. So.
Oh, if you say the disc, the
if you somehow know
that's
brand.
RPM disc.
Yeah, whatever. And if you guess wrong, though, you lose a point. So you really need to make sure you know.
Okay.
So only guess if you know it.
Heck yeah.
I like this game.
I like this game.
And keep track of your points, because I'm not.
Wait, is it whoever says first? Do we have a buzzer or something?
No. I'm going to ask each of you.
Oh, we're going to ask each of us different questions.
No. Same question. So you're allowed to agree.
Oh, okay.
So I would.
You're allowed to agree. Okay.
I'm going to ask you, and you're first going to say yes or no, and then if you know the brand, save that until both people have given their answer. So you don't give anything
I understand this. You better not be Googling over there, Google boy.
Yeah, no.
I'm not. I'm
okay.
OBS.
Okay.
Your hands were on your computer.
The first name is Grip Performance. Is it baseline?
Hunter first.
Grip performance is
It's kind
so
of an
contradictory.
it's kind of an oxymoron.
Because grip's like, oh yeah,
performance.
Grip's like, oh yeah, that's baseline. The performance like, there's no way that's baseline. So I'm gonna say
performance.
I'm going to say no.
Konner.
Grip performance. I'm gonna say yes. It is a baseline. Hold on, let me.
I want to explain my reasoning.
Baseline would also include like all the
like
softness.
jawbreaker and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
I'm
reasoning.
gonna say yes. It's
my
baseline.
reasoning for saying no is I think that grip is their baseline, and I think grip performance is their premium.
Ooh, that's
well,
pretty good.
The answer is yes.
Oh,
it
frick
is
me.
baseline. This is
I have
Daredevil
one.
discs.
Daredevil, really? I
Yeah.
even know Daredevil. I've never heard of that.
This is their 1-0.
Is that just like their baseline or like a
Can we all
special
take a
baseline?
moment? Can we all take a moment to remember when Nico
knows?
was sponsored by Daredevil?
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
I remember his in the bag.
I remember.
He was throwing like the owl and stuff,
Heck yeah.
or I forget what it was.
Okay. Here is the next one.
Do you want me to go first on this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Max Grip. Some of these are so funny.
Max
do,
grip.
Do these companies not have like a?
I don't want to say my reasoning too much because I don't want to give Hunter good reasoning. But I'm gonna say it is not a baseline. I'm gonna say this is a premium plastic Max
I'm gonna go
grip.
the opposite of Konner here, like I did last time. I think it is a baseline. You can't call something max grip and not have it be baseline. There's no way.
It's not a baseline.
Oh,
This one's from Divergent Discs.
okay, all right. I saw
Wait,
that
I
movie.
need to have a word with you, Divergent.
I saw that movie.
Okay, it's gonna get a little more confusing now because I'm pretty sure this is a different language. This one is just called EKA plastic. EKKA. EKA plastic.
Is it my turn to go first?
Doesn't matter. I'm saying baseline easy.
I'll go baseline too. Why not? Ride the wave.
You're both wrong.
Oh dang it!
Okay. That's fine.
This one was from Fourth Circle Discs.
Wow.
Never heard of
Still
them.
2-0 to Konner.
Fourth circles.
Okay, here, the next
There's
one.
four. There's four whole circles.
Fourth circles. Why is it so funny?
Well, it's just how you're saying it. Just say fourth circle. You're going fourth circles.
Fourth circles.
Like, just say fourth. Just say fourth.
He doesn't
Fourth.
want to.
Fourth. Okay, there you
Fourth.
go. Okay, you're pronouncing fourth weird when you're
Does
saying
it say
fourth.
firth?
I don't even know. Okay.
All right.
Next one. The next one is called Ground.
Wait though. How many?
I'm not gonna tell you.
How many more do we have?
Oh, there's like 11 in total.
Oh frick.
All right.
Ground.
I was just making sure that I have time to catch up.
I feel like
Yeah, you only
there's
down by
no
2.
way that ground isn't baseline plastic, but am I being tricked?
I was gonna say, but would Trevor put it on the list if it was that obvious?
I picked a lot of ones that sound obvious, and they kind of go both ways.
I've got
Or
a
did
little
I?
bit of a lead to work with. I'm up 2, so I'm gonna go with the maybe he's tricking me, and I'm gonna say it's a premium plastic.
I'm gonna say it's baseline.
okay.
This one is a baseline.
Darn.
From Full Turn Discs.
Full turn.
Full turn. Fully turned discs.
Full turn.
So
Never go
2 to
full
1.
turn.
All right, the next one
I'm losing my lead.
is E-Class.
Oh my gosh.
E class is baseline.
You seem so confident. E-class.
It's not a spelling bee. E-Class. E-C-L.
I'm
Can I-
going to
can I
say
have a country of
I'm
origin?
going to say it is a premium plastic.
It is a baseline plastic.
The meteorite is in
big.
E class plastic, but I don't know what company that's from.
Oh, can I guess?
No.
I think Hunter just gave away too much.
Okay. Well, I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, is it Franklin Discs?
No.
No.
No. Oh wait, no.
It's an actual disc company. I just don't remember what
Yeah.
what it is.
I'm not
I just
gonna-
remember it. I remember the meteorite being
It's
E class.
Galaxy Discs.
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
disc.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's
I
it.
was
just
wondering
remember-
if you'd be able to get
I
that.
just remember the meteorite was E class.
When you answered so quickly, I was like, I wonder if he's going to know.
No, I was thinking through really hard, and I could
All right.
picture the disc, and I could picture the E class. I couldn't
I'm
picture the
very-
name.
Are we tied up now?
We're all
tied
tied
up.
up. We're
I'm
not up
very
like two
upset.
snakes in a handbag.
Okay, the next one is
Park
called
the bus.
the next one is
Park the
called
bus.
Safety Line.
What? Safety.
There's better
You
ones
can
than
dance
that.
if you want to. The safety dance. Y'all ever heard the safety dance?
Nope.
Konner, surely you've heard the safety dance.
Oh, I know that song.
Okay. What are we thinking?
Y'all yours.
Safety. It was safety class.
Safety line.
Safety line.
I like safety class better. Safety line. So, I'm just gonna have to talk out loud here for a second. Safety line.
What if it's like safe D line?
Can
it's
you
a
spell
pun?
it? Can you spell it?
It's spelled like safety.
Oh, okay. So that I was.
But what if that's what you're going for?
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
Safety line. I'm gonna have to say, because I've been sticking with it and I've been wrong every time, so I'm not gonna learn from a mistake, and I'm gonna say it's a premium plastic.
Okay.
I feel like it's like
safety
a
line.
grip enhancing premium plastic. It's like their G-Star.
I'm trying to think of like if I'm a company, what am I calling safety for? And I'm
G-Star kind of
thinking-
makes this really hard knowing that it exists because it's like a grip plastic that's premium.
Well, what I'm thinking is like safety.
I feel like I'm wrong now.
Safety, I'm thinking is like gummy, right?
Yes.
Which the question is like, if it's a really flexible gummy
Safety
plastic,
line.
is that baseline, or would Trevor
Could be
consider
either.
that premium?
Well,
Safety
let's put it.
line.
Let me give you like a scale.
Like elevation
R-
interceptor.
Like, that's
Would you
not
consider that
premium.
baseline or
No,
premium?
Baseline. R Pro baseline. G-Star premium. That's
bite
like
my
where my
tongue.
line is drawn.
I'm gonna bite my tongue on that one.
I'm gonna just go premium just so I match Konner.
Oh,
'cause
come
I
on.
don't know what to do here.
It is a baseline disc.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
thank goodness.
From Guru.
Thank you.
From Guru Disc Golf.
Guru, what are you thinking? What are you
They've
thinking
all-
there, guys?
Okay, all right.
Here's the next one.
How many more are there?
5.
Oh my god.
Jeez, Trevor.
I got a
You
bunch.
popped off.
Yeah. The next one is K1 line.
Off.
K1,
K1 line.
that is a premium plastic. No. Yes. No. Frick. Yeah. Ah! I think it's premium plastic. Your turn.
K1. I feel for some reason it sounds very much like a premium plastic.
I would agree with that statement.
So the more you think about it, the less it feels like a premium plastic, but it sounds immediately like a premium plastic. And I'm gonna be boring and say it's also a premium plastic.
And
Now,
this is from
whoa. Konner, do you know who manufactures this? I know you're gonna know.
Yeah.
I think
So I want to make sure that Konner gets his chance to guess.
But if Konner guesses before me,
No. I'm gonna ask him if he knows, and if he tells me he knows, we can figure something out. Because I know you know.
okay.
Do you know who it is, Konner?
Remember, if you guess wrong, you get minus a point.
I promise you, Hunter knows.
I do know. Unless I'm very confident for the wrong reason.
I have two companies in my head.
Let me just say my
Remember,
answer.
if
and
you
then
guess
can
wrong,
Yeah, just say your answer and then I'll say whether or not I know it.
If you guess wrong, you do lose a point. So you can just say, you know what,
Can you first tell us if this was?
because
a
you're only
premium
gonna
plastic?
if you don't guess and Hunter gets it, you're only gonna lose 1 point, but you can lose 2 if you guess wrong. Because you haven't lost a point on the original thing, and there's still 4 more.
I'm
left.
gonna not guess it.
Hunter.
Castaplastic.
Dang it, I was
Correct.
gonna say Castaplastic.
Now,
Correct.
so because I've heard K1 Bergs, which makes me like really confused if it's premium or not.
No, yeah, it's K1's premium.
What'd you say?
We both
Yeah,
said the
you
same
both
thing.
said-
Okay,
same
that's fine.
thing.
So I just get a point. So I'm up one.
That is, I was gonna say Castaplast, but I wasn't confident. enough
Now
in it.
I'm going because the comments are gonna say I could do this, and I understand I could do this, but I'm gonna choose not to for the sanctity of the game. Because I'm up one, so I could just park the bus here, but I'm
Yes.
not going to.
There's 4
Well,
more
yeah.
left.
I'm saying like I could just like
Oh,
every
yeah,
time
yeah.
just try to match Konner.
Well, true. I was 2 up. I could have done that too.
No, we
but
both could have, but for the sanctity of the game,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what I
Just a
truly
flaw in
think.
the rules.
I love you, Hunter.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
If it really came down to that, I'd probably switch to if it came down to that.
Well, we've been rotating back and
I
forth.
would've-
who goes
it's not-
first.
yeah.
I would have switched to a buzzer technique for the last one.
We've both been going back and
Because
forth
I'm
as
just
to
a
who says first.
master
so it's
game
not-
master.
Yeah.
So it's your
Okay, the next
you
one.
first.
This is one of my favorites. This one is called fossil fuel.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good name for a plastic.
What the heck?
Fossil fuel. Baseline.
Hunter.
Okay.
Just do what
I'm
you
going, I'm
genuinely
going
think.
to 2 for 1 here.
Oh goodness.
I'm going its baseline.
Whoa.
And
Do you have a guess? Do you know? Do you think you know who the manufacturer is?
Fossil fuel. Fossil fuel. No.
I'm saying it's reptilian disc golf.
Wow.
That is correct.
Wow.
yeah!
So now it's Hunter's up 2 now.
What was it also baseline?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Well, you got that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hunter's
That
up,
was very
Hunter's
impressive,
up 2
Hunter.
with 3 to play.
Well, I mean, fossil fuel.
It sounds very much
it's
like
very
it's,
much
Yeah.
reptile.
Yeah.
So I was like, reptilian's got to be the only company out there that's doing
Darn.
this.
Darn. I just got pooped.
So I'm up 2.
I have to double check something really quick because I think I may have either misspelled something or
Made something up.
I'm crazy. Well, no, yeah, like hold on. Everybody, please hold.
I'm
Konner,
so
tell
hungry.
a story why I looked this up.
One time, I was playing disc golf in a public park, a very public park, and I
When I was a young boy,
I got it.
my father, he took me into the city to see this marching band.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. All right, everybody
sitting
shut
on
it.
the edge of my seat
All right,
now.
atomic is the next plastic.
Was it me?
I like somehow typed this in as @momic. So
I'm
I
gonna
was like,
say,
what did I do?
It is your turn.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
I think Atomic's a premium plastic. I think it's premium.
I was also gonna say that it's premium plastic because I
You're down
believe that
two.
it is. But
There's still 2 more to play.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I don't
Okay.
want. I don't want
Okay.
to give up another one. I'm gonna say it is a premium.
Anybody
plastic.
anybody want to guess the manufacturer?
Atomic?
I feel like
It really does fit greatly into the Axiom and MVP thing, but I know it's not that.
Yeah.
But it fits well in there. So I'm not gonna guess. I think it's kind of bizarre.
it actually was an Axiom plat. I'm just kidding.
Oh my
I was
god!
gonna say, I was gonna slap you.
It's from RPM.
RPM disc. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it premium?
It was premium.
That's what we said, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, that's
All
right.
right,
know
two
what points
more.
we're
We both were kind of like, wait, what?
This one, the next one is category 3.
That is a baseline, and I think I know the company.
Oh my goodness! I was so confident. I feel intimidated. Category 3. Premium. Well, it sounds like he knows.
I don't know the.
You
think
said
I think I
premium.
know the company.
I'm gonna say premium.
I said baseline.
Okay. And
Well,
do you
what
think you
was
know
it?
who it is?
No, I.
What- what-
I'm
what
not
was
going
the
to tell you
plastic
that
first
yet.
off?
I'm not going to tell you that if you're going to.
Category
Well, I'll tell you.
Because I need to decide if I'm gonna guess it.
It's premium.
Okay, so I'm not gonna guess.
Heck yeah!
I'm not gonna say.
You're
the
officially
manufacturer.
not getting a point for
Let's
the
put us
guess, but
within
what were
one.
you going to guess?
tornado throw.
No.
What's that?
Storm disc golf.
I've never even heard of that.
So Konner is down 1 with 1 to play.
Brody just randomly walked in the door, and Trevor said it. He goes, "Oh, I got some storm." I guess they sent him some
All
stuff.
right, this is the last one.
Wait, so it's 1 point separate. So
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's why I wasn't gonna guess because we
This
could be
one
tied up.
That's true.
This one is called Landslide. The last
Is it me
one.
or you?
I'm gonna go first, and
Okay.
I am going to say it is.
I have my guess locked in my head. I've locked in, so I don't care what you say. I'm saying the same thing either way. So do you want me to go first?
Well, you're saying the same thing as me?
No, I'm saying I think I know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know the company or anything, but I'm gonna guess one way, regardless of what you guess. So
Well, then
if
I'd
we guess
kinda
the
rather
same-
you
okay,
just go
I'm
first.
saying baseline.
Oh, poop. That's what I was gonna say.
It just sounds very baseline.
It sounds very baseline.
But that's why I wanted to say it because
But,
I didn't
like,
want you to say baseline, then I say baseline, and I just look like I'm trying to win.
Landslide. Well, then I
Your only shot at winning is say
yeah,
premium.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Well,
say
unless you could guess the company.
Oh, that is true.
Landslide.
Unless you guess the company.
landslide. I'm gonna guess the plastic is landslide. It's a premium plastic by the company Landslide. I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna say it's a premium plastic. Hope to tie it up here.
It is a baseline plastic.
Well,
from Wild Discs.
Wild disc. Never even heard of them.
well
Here's the-
played. Well
I
played.
never heard
Thank
of
you.
Wild Discs either, but they like name their discs after animals and then they like explain things about the animal. It's almost like a Wikipedia page for the animal. It's pretty
That's
interesting.
fun.
It's kind of fun.
The heck just happened?
What on earth is that alien noise?
I think the GH4 just go off too?
Huh? Yep, it sure did.
Might have died. Doesn't matter.
It
Okay.
did.
We're going to move into a new segment.
Are they drilling into the wall?
I guess they're drilling into the wall behind us. That's definitely what's going on.
Yeah.
We're going to move into a new segment called What's in Your Bag? So, essentially,
Are we just gonna? I think we should just call it in the bag.
in the bag. Fine. Welcome to In the Bag.
Like, what's in your bag sounds like a game show. In the bag sounds like a segment.
All right. Welcome to In the Bag.
Not to like kill the vibe.
Hey, vibe killed.
Okay.
In the bag. Basically, what we're going to do here is each week that we do this segment.
I can't wait to watch the confusion on our face as we heard that. Because I thought we were about to get
I thought we were
abducted.
dying.
Yeah.
Each week, we're going to have a different prompt for what we're putting in our bag. So, in the bag, this week is the Bad Breaks edition. So, basically, it's going to be a snake draft. I don't know how we're going to decide who goes first, but each person's going to get to pick 4 items that they put in their bag, 4 bad breaks that they put in their bag, and then we're going to leave it up to you to decide who won. We're going to put a poll up over on our Grip Locked Twitter. We'll have a graphic that shows you what's in each of our bag. You vote for who had the best. We're going to keep a record of this, and the loser.
There's nothing for the loser.
No, the loser will have to do something for the winner.
Should we do like an overall loser for like the off season?
No, that's what I'm saying. We're keeping track of this the whole off season.
Okay.
The winner, we didn't plan this part, clearly.
We'll figure it out though.
No, we're putting
Maybe
it
they'll
on
have to
now.
like cook them dinner.
The loser has to
like that.
cook and serve the winning person and their wife dinner.
That's a
for
great
tuna, Hunter.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
No,
a meal
of the
meal
person's
their
choice.
Yeah, they have to.
Of
choose.
I kind of hope Hunter wins if I have to cook because I was making chicken tenders.
The
If Konner
winner-
wins, it's gonna be like
the
some
winner
kind of
gets to
fancy
choose-
steak sauvé or something.
The winner gets to choose their meal, and the loser has to cook and serve it to the winner and their wife.
That's fun.
That's a good one.
That's a very fun idea.
All right, so who's going first?
I think what we'll do is
Fine, I'll go first.
Typically, I think we'll have the winner decide the order of the draft because not going first isn't always the best, like in the snake draft. But we'll have Brody decide it.
Brody, what's the order of the draft?
What's the order of the draft?
Who
It's a
goes-
snake draft.
Connor, Trevor,
Okay,
Hunter.
I'm in
What
the
up?
middle. It's like not a
All
good
right,
place
I
to
like
be.
this because I can start off with the one that's very relatable, and then I can kind of feel out for the rest of the off season to see if my other technique
gotcha.
is going to work out. Also,
I'm
you
just
guys
picking
are,
absurd, funny things.
yes,
Yeah.
you guys are not going to be able to see me because that other camera died, which is fine. I think them drilling through the wall killed it.
Yeah, I don't know if our audience is going to be like, is it actually going to pick like which are the most relatable, or if they're just going to pick whoever says the most absurd things. Like,
I don't know. We're
when
gonna
you're
find
on-
I'm gonna
out.
start it off
when you're on the
good.
course and you slip on a cow turd, like so
I'm
funny.
happened to me
That's
before.
what. Come on, man. That's what I was going to
That's
say.
literally happened to me before.
It has happened to me.
My
too.
first one is going to be a chain out. A spit out. Sorry,
Spit
a
out.
spit out.
Whoa.
A
Spit out.
A spit out.
The
As in-
language in these can be important.
Yes, because a chain out is like you went. That's not that
right or left. So
unfortunate.
you're saying
Yeah.
a spit out.
Spit out is like you
A
putt,
spit out
you
or a
f-
spit through?
a spit out. Dear Lord, if
No,
it goes
there's
through, it still goes out. If it goes through, it's still out.
Yeah,
Tough to
there's
argue with that.
No one.
I had both. I had chain out and spit through on my list, so I was just.
So I
We
was saying
can't
like
have-
a chain out is like you like for an ace or for a throw in. Like it just hits
That
it
is
too
true.
hard and
That
bounces
is a
out.
valid
It's not
point.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yep.
It spit out is like it got in the basket.
Spit out is like
and then was
you
out of the
felt
basket.
like it was a very good putt. You were
But it
confident.
wasn't
you
a
were even
perfect
like
putt.
you were almost to the point where you're like I'm ready to pick up my mini,
Yeah.
but it
That is
you
probably
look up
like,
and it's on the ground.
That is probably like number one bad
Yeah.
break for
Yeah.
sure.
So I just
That's-
want to go and steal
that was
that
my
one.
1-1
Spit out
as well.
We got Connor.
Spit out.
Okay,
Trevor.
I'm gonna go ahead and take probably the obvious 2 pick here, which is the roll away.
Yeah.
good one.
The
That's a
roll
good one.
away, obviously, like you throw a good shot, and then all of a sudden, I think rollaways are worst whenever it's probably they're the worst whenever you miss a putt, and then actually it's honestly it's worse when you miss a putt, have the chain out or spit out happen to you, and then roll like right back to where you just putted from. But rollaways just stink because it's just luck.
Rollaways do suck. So I get to pick 2 now.
Yeah.
So first one, going with a tree kick OB.
Tree
Okay,
kick
that
OB.
stinks. I hate that.
But you threw a bad shot though. How much of a bad break is that?
Because the bad break is that it went OB.
yeah, it could have kicked
It
left
could
or
have
right.
kicked anywhere.
Okay.
Picture it. I put you in a scenario for mine. Okay.
Put him in a
We're
scenario.
both on the same card.
Yeah.
You step up. You get a tree kick. You threw a worse shot farther off the fairway.
Yep,
you get a tree
yep.
kick. You're in the middle of the
Right.
fairway.
Hate
Right.
that.
I pulled like 6 inches off the fairway.
It's kind of like the wrong side of the tree type thing.
I pulled 6
Yeah.
inches off the fairway. Boom, mine kicks over.
That is true. That is the worst when somebody
That
when
sucks.
somebody just throws way bad and they get super like they just get the back door that
and you have
wasn't
to
even
find
there.
a way to act like you don't hate that person.
Yeah, like and
When
like
I want to punch
you
Trevor.
just want to
Yes.
say
Even
something
right now.
You just want you want to say something under your
Unrelated.
breath like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's getting so lucky." But you
Yeah,
can't.
but yeah.
okay, that's a good one.
So
That's a good
tree
one.
kick OB.
So that's whenever you just say the course loves you because it kind of gets out the fact that you're like you lucky piece of crap.
Yeah. And my second one is this can apply to putts or drives, but
Okay.
getting lifted by the wind.
Lifted.
Getting lifted.
Wind lift.
Okay.
Wind lift. So like you throw your shot, it seems like a decent shot, the wind just and next thing
Yeah.
you know that sucker's hyzer into the middle of the lake.
So-
or I'm throwing a 30-foot putt, it looks perfect out of my hand.
And
Next
it
thing you know,
lifts. And then
band.
clank.
Yeah. So that takes me to my next pick, and my actually is getting dropped by the wind.
Oh, the opposite.
I think getting dropped is a bummer because you get lifted. I feel like nose angle has a lot to do with that.
I'll say this in defense of mine. Getting lifted, you're going to most likely end up in a worse spot than if you got dropped.
Drop is safe. Lift is OB.
Lift is terrifying.
I'm just saying lifted.
Unless you're throwing
I think
over
getting
and
dropped.
water.
I think getting dropped is more frustrating. I think when I
It's
get
more demoralizing.
I
yes.
think when I get lifted a lot of times I blame it on myself. When I get dropped out at the end, a lot of times it's like I just threw a perfect shot. And
But
it got
wouldn't you say that the nose angle is the same if you're getting dropped or lifted? Just depends on the wind.
I'm just
Dropped
telling
it,
you, in my
dropped it.
experience, I get more frustrated. I think that I threw a good shot when I get dropped. When I get lifted, a lot of times I blame it on myself. Maybe that's just me. But I hate throwing the 200-foot upshot that's an easy up and down. You throw it perfect out of your hand, and about 75 feet there, it just gets slammed into the ground.
They're both demoralizing. I like getting dropped more because I'm like, well,
I think it's
at least
more,
I got a 50-footer.
It's more safe,
versus
but it's more
I throw my
frustrating,
200-foot upshot, and I'm like, well, frick, now I'm in the woods, even though I threw a perfect upshot.
That's a fair argument.
That's all I'm saying. But
and
you also have the back and second pick.
Also, when you're putting and you get dropped, you have to hear it slam into the cage. That also stinks.
My situation, I'm going to keep it a little bit tame, but I always hate whenever this happens. Whenever you just happen to forget your DEET bug spray and you're 40% DEET, and then you get bit by a tick, and then you get alpha gal, and you can no longer eat that savory beef jerky while you're on the course.
That is a bad break.
And I'm throwing everything worse if I'm not eating my jerky.
A vote for this guy's list is a vote against alpha gal, though. That's a pretty bold stance to take.
No, it's not yeah, it sucks. I hate alpha gal. That sucks. I hate it when that happens.
What do you
Can we like? Is that gonna be allowed in this segment? We can just gaslight, take other people's situations.
I'm saying I hate that situation.
I hate it too.
I hate that. That whenever you can't eat.
How
beef jerky on the
relatable is
course.
that, though? It's not very relatable.
See, I don't know.
I'm pretty
It's
pretty
about-
related to Konner's
No,
story
I'm
right
saying
now.
to the people listening, I bet you a lot more people have chained out than gotten alpha gal.
Yeah, but I don't.
Hey,
that's just my situation. Come
that's
on,
his
man.
pick, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
This is personal.
I'm not mad about it.
This is personal.
I'm mad that you took my pick, but it wasn't on my list.
I just say it's never happened to me personally, but I've got a close friend it's happened to, and
You go twice now.
Okay, yeah. All right, this is my third one. We have 4.
Yeah.
We're doing 4.
Yeah.
Shoot. Let me pick a simple one. Okay, I'm gonna pick a unfortunate lie. How would I explain that? So
I
like
don't know. How do
you
you
throw a
explain it?
perfect drive.
You tell me.
You throw a perfect drive, but you happen to land like in
under a picnic table.
You gotta pick something specific here because I might have things
Okay.
on my
How
list.
about under a picnic table?
All right, give me just a
Because
second.
I've got one that pertains to that.
Okay. Then you land in mud.
Okay.
Okay.
That's valid.
Yes.
That's fair.
That's
Whenever it
valid. A
looks like
slippery
perfect-
lie. That
it's
stinks.
a perfect throw. Yeah, I'm gonna say slippery lie. You throw what looks like a perfect throw, and you land in a slippery spot.
That does stink.
And you're like, I was really excited because I could throw my second shot and get my birdie here.
Yeah, you gotta
but
throw a
now I have to
standstill.
throw a standstill, and it sucks.
That is-
that is a
That
very
is a
bad
good
break.
pick. That does stink. That's the worst.
It's almost as bad as Alpha Gal.
Almost.
My next pick is getting nubbed. You throw a putt. Listen.
Walk us through this.
Listen. I didn't even hear what he said. What did you say?
He said, that's never happened to me.
It has. You throw a putt, it goes over the front edge of the cage, and the nub catches the back of the disc and shoots it back out of the basket.
Getting nubbed sucks.
It is one of the. That's
Your
what it
next
is.
shirts say get nubbed.
I'm just telling you, that's one of the most frustrating things ever because that putt
it is.
looks like it's going in.
Absolutely.
It catches the nub and shoots it straight out of the basket. I hate when that happens. That's one of the more frustrating things that ever happens to me.
That is frustrating.
Do I pick twice now? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I picked these are my last two.
Yeah.
The last two.
First one is similar to Konner's situation, but slightly different. So you throw a great drive and you land in a casual creek, and you have to make the decision between standing in the creek and getting your feet wet or taking casual relief 200 feet back down the fairway.
That does stink. And you're taking the wet feet too.
Yeah, you gotta take the wet feet.
You know
but
you
you
are.
have that moment where you walk up and you're like, how much do I care about this round?
Yeah.
So having to decide that casual relief, I hate that. Last one, maybe some random scenario. Like, let's just say you happen to be warming up for a tournament at Elk Creek. You step up to, let's say, a random hole, like hole 4 maybe, and you pull out a KC Pro Rockets beaten to perfection that you've had for like 3 years. It's red, it's gorgeous, and you pull it into a tree before a tournament and it shatters.
You shatter
Something like
a
that.
disc.
Something
That
like
is
that.
that is a bad break.
That's the worst break I've ever had in disc golf. My favorite
Literally
mid-range of all
broken.
time. I was warming up for a tournament. I was playing through the first few holes. You played 5 holes. You were back to start. I'm on hole 4 of that 5-hole loop warming up. It's a technical course. I threw this disc on like every single tee.
hole. Yeah.
Pulled it into the tree right of the tee, and it shattered into like 6 pieces about 20 minutes before we started the round.
That is a bad.
That is
That's
the worst.
rough.
That was the worst break I've ever had in my life.
That's rough.
And I had to act like it wasn't to me because I might cry.
All right, my last one.
Is that
Should
what
I-
you were crying about earlier?
Should I make myself cry? Yeah, I read the list.
I read
I read the list. It reminded you.
Your eyes are watering
I'm
so much.
I'm gonna try
right
to make
now.
myself cry.
You want me to make you cry? It's working.
This is not really helping the audio listeners.
No, you keep going.
Okay. You
So-
keep working on that.
Oh, there's a tear. I'm so
Oh my
uncomfortable.
gosh.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
All right, my last one. I'm kind of between two.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with this one though. My last one is the bad ground play when you're going for a skip. So either
You just hit a root.
you either hit and get no skip, like the ground just eats it alive, or you like catch that flare skip that sends you like 150 feet left.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, when
know?
when you're just trying to play a normal skip shot and you just get the worst reaction off the ground, especially when the guy before you or after you does the same thing and gets perfect ground play.
Yeah.
Or you catch a rock or a root. Bad ground action. That's my final pick.
That's a good pick. My pick is going to be whenever you miss a pretty not super difficult putt.
Yeah.
And so, like, out of frustration, you're just letting your frustration out a little bit, and you just, like, give the ground, like, a little punch, and then you just happen to break your hand, and then you have to play the rest of, let's say, USDGC.
You guys have
forehand.
really not caught the essence
And
of
let's
this,
say, like,
of this
it's like,
game.
and your name just happens to
All
be
of mine did
Eagle
except
McMahon.
for my KC Pro Rock.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, you guys are naming things that have literally only happened once ever.
No, but okay, my
notably.
real thing is the KC Pro Rock, like a disc
You
shattering.
shattered. Yeah, no,
That is a
that's
bad
at
break.
least valid. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
only
it's a-
happened once.
Explain a worse break to me than whenever you punch the ground and break your
That's not
hand.
really a bad break, though, because you did it to yourself.
That is also
could've-
valid.
You could have not hit. You could have not broken your hand. Like,
Yeah,
you
but-
could've
Point
just been a
Konner. Back to
fracture.
Trevor.
The KC Pro
Okay.
Rock, you could have not thrown it into a tree.
I'm gonna stop talking because like I know I'm just gonna not get voted for picking like the list that like is like what I thought this was about.
One was on mine that was gonna be my last resort if I had to use it. Was similar to Konner's, which is like a purely my decision, which was not bringing rain gear to a rain round because that's not really a bad break because you made the decision.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the bad break.
It's kind of a bad
it started
break.
raining.
Yeah, no, it is a bad break.
I was
if
surprised
it, like,
no one said weather.
You could have said like if like it's not in the forecast and it
But I'm
rains.
saying like that's but I just said not bring rain.
My honorable
I think
mention.
that's kind of similar to Konner's of like it's a decision I made. Also, kind of
Yeah.
a bad break.
The
'Cause,
other
like,
one-
the decision he made was to punch the ground. Bad
Yeah.
decision. Bad break is the bone in his hand.
Yeah, it's a bad break.
Yeah.
I've punched the ground in a tournament before and thought I broke my hand and almost DNF'd.
The other one I was between was when
That
you
was
get
angry
like
Hunter.
pinned behind a tree and so you can't like you throw a perfect drive and there's just like a tree in the middle of the fairway and then you can't throw a
Yeah.
full shot without smashing your
Yeah.
hand into a tree.
Yeah.
That's the one I was stuck
That's
between.
tough.
All right, so there you go. There's the what did you say it was called? In the bag.
In the bag.
In the
Very
bag.
relatable.
In the
Here's
bag.
everybody stuff.
I just
Yeah.
want you to know though, like when you pick something like, just saying, when you pick something that's like super long-winded, when
you
you
better
have
hurt
to
my feelings.
when you have to type that into a list for
I already
our
thought
picks-
about mine.
I know, but when you type
Shattering disc.
no,
Breaking hand.
right? So like it's gonna
Alpha
be,
gal.
when people are just looking at that list and they haven't listened to the podcast.
They've listened. You've all
A
listened.
lot of the voters haven't.
You're here. This is you.
Everybody raise your hand if
they're
you've
gonna
heard this
they're gonna
podcast.
see
Look at them. Look at all the hands up.
they're gonna see broken hand and be like, what does that even mean? Because they
That's
don't.
a
They're
bad
not
It's
gonna,
not going to just say broken hand.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it probably will because it has to be short enough to fit into a little
I'm making-
list.
And I'll
making
fit
the-
it in there.
I'm making the graphic.
Yeah.
Well, then that's not fair.
I'm just saying, like that's why you. Like, I'm just gonna
That's
stop
what I'm saying.
talking.
Shattering disc, breaking hand. People will know.
No, they
head over
won't.
to. Well, you should have thought of that before you freaking.
Yeah,
picked
like
it.
that's
should've
why.
told me that
That's
before
why
I
you're supposed.
freaking
You got to
picked it.
pick things that are like relatable.
So head over to our Twitter at GripLockedPod if you want to let your opinion be heard on who won this week's In the Bag, and we'll be back with another topic for discussion. I don't know if we'll do it next week. I don't know when we're back.
I'm confident.
I want to hear everyone's opinions on these new segments. Final thing to wrap up the show: a little college disc golf action. Last weekend we had the Winston-Salem Ram qualifier. We had UNC Charlotte.
I was born in Winston-Salem.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Did you play the qualifier?
No.
Demon Deacons.
Okay. UNC Charlotte took it down in a playoff over Clemson. NC State came in third. UNC Charlotte had some familiar names on there. Brandon Robertson was back.
He's back.
He's back. assuming it's the same Brandon Robertson.
Has to be.
He was back playing, and then we had the Cincinnati Collegiate qualifiers coming up this weekend. It looks like University of Cincinnati is the heavy favorites in that one, but it's a pretty stacked field. There's a lot of teams there, so we'll be sure to keep you updated on that. And I'm hoping that the college disc golf comes out with their updated rankings soon because, like for instance, University of Cincinnati is like 11th. NC State I think was like in the top 5, but then UNC Charlotte wasn't on the list, and Clemson was in like 18th. But UNC Charlotte and Clemson just beat NC State at this last weekend, so. I want some updated ratings. I want to know the story.
Yeah, give me the real top 10.
Yeah. Well, this is perfect timing to end the podcast because they literally just started hammering the wall behind us.
I think they're applauding.
Yeah, they're clapping for us. Give it up.
Come on.
Give up. Just quit.
All right. That's going to wrap it up. If you are interested in tuning into the Bogey Bro banter, about to film that, that's over on Patreon, patreon.com/Foundation Disc Golf. Link should also be in the description down below if you want access to every single week we do the Bogey Bro banter, and you'll have access to all of the past ones, plus an exclusive monthly video that comes out every month. And also be on the lookout for our fall line coming up pretty soon. Pretty excited about that. And we also are launching our second channel, Foundation Nation. You might have seen some stuff on there before. We've done some vlogs, some random stuff on there, but it has a new life, a new form, which is pretty excited. You'll see a new video coming out there next week, as well as, you might have already seen this, we're starting to do weekly disc reviews on another new channel called Foundation Disc Golf Reviews. So if you like reviews,
all kinds of stuff
going down. If you like reviews and you like to kind of hear about discs before you pick them up, hopefully we'll become your one-stop shop for that as well. Other than that, we will talk to you all next week.